Okay, so in this part, we will create our custom AnimNotify. So we right-click, create blueprint class, and down here, search for AnimNotify. Select AnimNotify, select, and I will call this footsteps underscore AnimNotify. And we will actually need to create two enums as well. So right-click again, go to blueprints, create enumeration. I will call this one e underscore foot side, and create another one. This will be e underscore footstep type. So if I open up e foot side, I will create two enumerators. The first one will be left side, and the second one will be right side. So this will be the variable that we will have access to in the details panel when we place our AnimNotify in the animation. And our footstep type enumerator will also be accessible in the details panel. So I will create 5 of these. Call this step, walk, run. So the display name is actually not that important. Just important that you know what they mean, because we will actually use just the index of the enumerators to pass into the MetaSound, into the index input that we created earlier. So this one will be jump, and this is our land enumerator. Save this. Now we can go into our AnimNotify, and the first thing we need to do here is override our received notify function. So I will start with playing the actual sound. So I will use the spawn sound attached node here. This will return an audio component, which we can use to set our integer parameter in the MetaSound for our movement type or footstep type. I will first check if this is valid. And if it is, then I will set the integer parameter here. We call this index. And now I will create a variable. This will be called step type, and this will actually be of the type footstep type, so the enumerator that we just created. This one. I will make this public so I have access to it in the details panel later on. Pull this in, and then I say to int, and now we can use the index of our enumerator and pass it into here. This node actually provides volume multipliers and pitch multipliers already. So I will just pull off these and promote these to variable. And these will also be public. And so now we can use these multipliers to distinguish between, for example, our walk, run, and crouch sounds, because they're all using the same asset pool, and we can just adjust volume and pitch according to the needs of the animation. So this node will spawn the sound and attach it to a component, and I want to attach the sound or the audio component that it creates to the corresponding foot of our character. So in our AnimNotify, we can get our mesh component. So this will just attach it to the origin of our mesh component, but here we can specify the exact socket or bone name that we want to attach it to. So to use this, I will create a local variable here, call this attach name, and this will be just a name type. Get this and put this in here, and we will set this attach name to the name of the foot socket on the corresponding side of our character before we spawn our sound. I will do this at the beginning of our function. First, I will again check if this is valid and also check our anim instance. Now we're good to go. So I will create another variable here. This will be our foot side, and it will be of type E foot side. This will also be public, because depending on the position in our animation timeline, we will have to choose between the left and the right foot. Now I will get this and use a switch node. And here we will set our attach name depending on which foot we selected. Now we must know what these sockets or bones are named in our skeletal mesh. To find this out, I will just click on our character here, browse to the skeletal mesh, and open it up. And in here, I will just search for foot. And there we have foot_L and foot_R. And these are the exact names that we need. So I will copy selected bone names, come back over here, and then paste this in the left side. And in the right side, we will replace the L with an R. And that's it for our attach name. So now if we choose the right foot in here, in our details panel, this name will be set, and then the spawn point for our audio component will be at the exact location of this bone. Now we can set up the line trace to check for the ground material. Just pull off here and use this line trace by channel, and we can actually connect both of these here. Now we need a start point and an end point for our line trace. For the start point, I will just use our attach name here and the mesh component. And from this, I can get the socket location with our attach name here. And this will be our starting point. And for our endpoint, we will use the same location and just go straight down the z-axis for about minus 150 units. And this will be our endpoint. To prevent the line trace to be blocked by our own character, we will have to put in actors to ignore here. So again, we can use the mesh component, get the owner, and put this into an array. Hook this up here. And now this will only be blocked if it reaches the ground beneath our character. Okay, so now to get the hit result here, I will pull off here and use the break hit result node. And here we can see the output for physics material. I can use this to get surface type, and this is a predefined enum that we populated in the first part when we set up our surface types in the project settings. So we can use this now, and I will promote this to a local variable and set it. And I will call this surface type. And to use this variable here now, we will actually have to create another variable. We can, if you want to have access to your MetaSounds in the details panel, you can make a normal variable up here. I will just make a local variable, call this sounds, and this will be a map, and I will select as the value type here sound base. And for our pin type here in the front, I will use the predefined enum physical surface here, which is the same as this one. And now I will add our MetaSounds here. So the first one will be concrete. Corresponding pin type will be concrete, of course. Next element will be ms_fs_grass. Then this one must be grass, and the next one metal, and this one will be metal. And now I will create a fourth one. This will be our default to fall back on if the object we're running over has no physical material or no surface type assigned to it. And as a default, we will just use the concrete sound. Okay, now I will pull this in and find our selected surface type. So this puts out the MetaSound asset that corresponds to the surface type that was detected by our line trace here. And now we can test this out in one of the animations real quick. So go to the animations folder, and I will choose maybe running forward here. So now we can add notify. I called this footsteps AnimNotify, and we can already hear that it's playing. Copy this over here for right foot. So the first one we can see is the left foot. So when I select this, I can say foot side, left side, this is fine. And I want this to be of our footstep type walk run. And the next one should also be walk run, but on our right side here. Save. And now if I start running, and you can see this is the only animation that has sound right now. If I start sprinting or use any other footstep type here, we can't hear anything. The surface type detection works. And to show you that the sound components that are spawned are actually located at our feet, we can use a debug console command called au.3d visualize enabled 1. And now we can see the audio components that are being spawned directly at our feet. And we can also see the name of the MetaSound changing depending on the material. Okay, so now all that's left is to go through all these animations here and set our animation notify with the correct timing and set our footstep type and volume and pitch multipliers and foot height depending on what the animation requires. I will make a cut now and go through all these animations here and show you the end result again. Okay, this took pretty long time, but I think I'm happy with the results. So let's just try this out. Perfect. Okay, so I hope this tutorial was helpful in any way. If there are any questions or suggestions, you can leave them in the comments. And yeah, see you next time.